Hello, I'm Michael Glass from michaelglass.com, where we focus on making informed decisions about our financial future. This is our Forex Tech Analysis trading plan for Sunday, June 12, 2011. Before we begin, we have to talk about our disclosures. Any symbols that you see today should not be inferred as a trade recommendation. No matter what form of investing you choose, stock, forex, futures, options, they all have a level of risk associated with them. You can lose all your money. Any strategies that we show today are for informational purposes only. Future results are not guaranteed. And finally, any investment decision you make is solely your own responsibility. Trade at your own risk. So as I said, this is our weekend Forex Technical Analysis trading plan, where we're going to look at the week's price action and come up with key support and resistance price levels. We'll look at gold and crude oil to see if there's any leading sentiment there. We'll come up with a low volatility watch list, an inside bar watch list. We'll look at the economic calendar and see what could affect our open and future trades. And we have an education spotlight at the end. Let's pull up the charts. Okay, as we start off with the dollar Canadian, we can see we've been watching this for how long? Really, literally 2 weeks of this ascending wedge pattern. We thought we were going to have a break lower as we opened up Friday's session to the downside, but what you had to start realizing is that until it's broke, you keep on doing it. So once we found that our uptrend line was proven, every time we hit this uptrend line, you buy it. Yeah, you would took a little heat here, but fine. 50 moving average held up as support. Likewise, our resistance of 98.15, you got to short it until proven wrong. We took a little heat here, but you would have been right. So that's why we're looking for an actual close above this 98.15 level and not just wicks before we really consider this a breakout and that this downtrend is fully reversed or at least short-term reversed. So I'm still looking for a break above 98.15 or come down here below 96.900 for a short or a confirmation of a short. Next we have the dollar franc. And this one is in a clear downtrend. And what we have here is probably a flight back to the 20 moving average. Now in that, we got 84.4, we got about 83, so there's a little under 100 pips here if you were that aggressive as far as trying to get that. In order to do that, you want to take out some of the candles that brought you into this. So we're already in the process of taking out this candle. You can see a wick here, a wick here, a wick here. So this 84,500 range is our line in the sand. And if we get above that, then we probably will, in fact, run up and test the 20 moving average. So that's something to put an alert on. We got our up PPS here, so there's definitely a little momentum moving on there. And finally, on the dollar side, we've got the dollar yen. And this has gone back into its consolidation mode here. You can see, back in January, we consolidated. We have the earthquake move, and now we're back to sort of consolidating. And we got this W going on here. And so you got two ways of playing that. Just like we saw with the U.S. Franc, you have those people saying, instead of waiting for the confirmation of W up here at 82.250, there is a more aggressive trade down here so that you can run up into that. The only thing I don't like about that is we do have resistance of the 20 to 50, which were honored in this little move right here somewhat. So that if we were above that 20 to 50, I would feel better about the run up to the W. But so for those who like that, that's 84.70, and then again the actual W is up here around 82.250. Our first euro currency is the euro Canadian, and we can kind of see our uptrend line that we're watching here and our resistance line. So we have an ascending wedge. What we talked about last week was as we came up and approached this resistance line, would we in fact push higher or will we pull back? And you can see once we put our doji in, that kind of led towards coming back, and then we made an inside bar. and then we closed below the inside bar, which led you to this down move. So what we want to do is go ahead and watch what happens as we pull back to our uptrend line, and also we have our support here around 1.36700 in that range. So we want to see what happens. Right now, I would say sit on hands. Next, we have the Euro Franc in a downtrend. Very nice downtrend. Unlike the dollar franc and I believe the pound franc also, it's already kind of come back up here to the 20 moving average. So now we can kind of watch and see, are we going to in fact break and make a new low here? So I'll put an alert here, or if we're trying to put in some type of W here, like the dollar franc there. So I have my alert here for the short, and we'll see what happens. Next we have the Euro Pound. And our overview of the Euro Pound is we have a funky M setting up here. Just a lot of choppiness here. Even though we pulled back hard and we had this great move up, and now we seem to be pulling back. I'm going to sit on hands on this one because to me, unless it's truly entering into this zone here and there's a short, but then we got the 20 and the 50 here, which although it wasn't honored too much, but what I'm looking for is something a little bit more cleaner, and this to me is not as clean as some of the other ones that we've talked about. So I'm going to sit on hands right now for the Euro Pound. What about the Euro Yen? We got a nice descending wedge here that we're watching, and you know it's going to play itself out. The issue is we may just want to go ahead and drop. We have this support line here, but there's another support line that we could come in here, and so you're going to have to determine what your support for this descending trend line is going to be. Notice that matches up with the 200 moving average. So you know your actual full out short may be below the 200 moving average instead of where we are right now. Matter of fact, I probably would go ahead and make that adjustment. And finally, we have the Euro Dollar. And you can see an M pattern here setting up on this one. We had the W that we played to the upside, and now we got this M pattern to the downside. We're in this auction channel here now. We've rested at the 50 moving average, so there probably is a play to the downside down here to 1.4. And as we zoom out, if we break 1.4, which is the completion of the M, you know, now we got to start talking about the 200 and the 500 moving average. As we switch over to the pound currencies, we're starting off with the pound Canadian. You can see our uptrend line here, and we had this wedge that we already played as we came out of right here. The good news is we're trying to stay above the 200 moving average, and so there might be a buy coming in here, which our hourly is showing us. But the bad news is, as we zoom out, it's just, you know, where we are right now as far as price action. I mean, just look at it. And so that to me is not clean, and that to me is not worth trading. We'll go over to the pound franc. And here's a clear downtrend. So yeah, there's a perfect example. This is tradable. So like the dollar franc, it's off the moving average, the 20 moving average here. And so we have a trade here. Once we get above all of this, to at least run us back in the 20 moving average, that's going to be around 1.38, 350-ish. And that will be a run up. Or you can put your alert also below it and see what happens if it does want to, in fact, push lower. What about the pound yen? Pound yen, we've been watching for a while. We have this descending wedge pattern that we're waiting for it to pan out. It's starting to pan out now, as we snaked around this 200 moving average for a while, and now we're close below it. Now, the issue is, you see this little swing low here is basically where we bounce. So if we can close below 130, we will come down into this. I don't know about this wick, but at least come down and test this 127. So I'm looking for a close below that, or heck, it may bounce here and come back up to the top. We're not sure. And the last pound is the pound dollar. And the pound dollar is looks like it's putting in a lower high here. We could come in here and draw our downtrend line, something like that. And it's entered this auction level now. So, and now we're below the 50 and the moving average. And so it looks like it wants to come back down and test the bottom, if not the 160. So, if we break lower, I think that even though we had a big day, there could be another trade. But obviously, we're oversold on 2 days down like that. We're going to be oversold, but there still may be a little more action, at least to 1.6, if not all the way down to the bottom of the channel. Now, there are a couple other dollar currency pairs that we'll throw in on this side, and that is the Aussie Dollar, which also has put in a lower high here, and we can take our downtrend line here, just kind of extend it over. And it's now closing below the 50 moving average. Little action in here. So if it breaks, it certainly can come down to 1.02. And the New Zealand dollar, which is the bullish of anything we've watched today, look at that. And it's making an inside bar here, so a close above or below this inside bar with a trade, but preferably I like to trade to the upside because we're in a clear uptrend. As we swing into the gold chart, we can see that we bounced off the 50 moving average, we came right up, and now we're just in the consolidation range here. And basically, I would recommend sitting on hands until we do something about that. Either break higher to test less swing high, or break lower to come back down to the 50 moving average. We can see with our point of control, it's at basically 1540. We're below that, so now that's going to be resistance. So I don't know necessarily if we're going to move lower, but you would think with what's going on in the States that there would have been a flight to gold, and so far there hasn't. We just really consolidated. And we can say the same thing about crude oil, except it's consolidated for a much longer time, and we're just cycling around $100. You can see our point of control is at $99. And so this is another one. Until we close out of this range, I recommend that you just sit on hands. As we're looking for the market to open, right now we don't have a low volatility candidate. There are some that within a couple hours are going to set up, and we'll update you that with our Twitter account. For Inside Bar, we got the dollar Franc and the New Zealand dollar. As we switch to our education portion, since we don't have time right now to go over our economic calendar, we're talking about high probability trading. What separates winning traders and losing traders? And hard work. Trading is not easy. It does take work. And you have to work as hard during the non-market hours as you do when the market is open. When the closing bell sounds, you have to have an after-market routine. We have videos on our site, pre-market routines, after-market routines, intraday routines, things you have to do to be prepared. We used to always talk about Lou Holt saying you have to be prepared, for something that you haven't seen before. And so in order to be prepared for that, you have to constantly look at the market, see where things are going, make decisions based upon your trading setups on what you'll do when the market gets to where you think it's going to go. We used to talk about having forex pairs if the market and the news reaction is up, forex pairs if the news reaction is down. You got to prepare for that way so that you're not caught off guard when things happen. You have to work. So as we talked about, check our Twitter account, Move Up with Mike, and get up to date on our low volatility watch list and alerts of other blog posts and videos. We're also on YouTube, and we have a page, Are You Financially Literate, on Facebook. So, we still have our free 5-video course on high probability trading, michaelglass.com, freevideo.html. We also have cashback for forex trade partnerships. If you're trading forex, why not be paid to do it? Whether you win or lose doesn't affect your spreads or your trading conditions. With most of the popular forex brokers, you can receive cash for trading. We also have a forward signal software that will help you predict a trend for 8 hours. And if you actually want to trade signals, we do have an automated forex trading partner, and you can either have it trade for you, or you can receive the signals and trade them yourself if you want to discern if they are matching who you are as a trader or not. Thanks, guys, and I will see you next time.